Chapter 4, Aldo Braff. The first time I saw Kiana, I knew she was going to be a pain in my neck. It was the first day of school, the marshmallow roast. She was the new girl, so I was nice. I took a pencil, speared a marshmallow, and made room for her around the fire. Talk about rude. She refused to take it because it was, quote, unsanitary. That's the last time I tried to be a gentleman. You know those bossy types who think they know everything? That's Kiana. One time I'm in the cafeteria when she comes up to me and tells me to stop kicking the candy machine. If I'm kicking the candy machine, I'm doing it for a very good reason. Who put her in charge of the world? She grabs my arm and hauls me away from the machine. What's wrong? I want a zag nut, I tell her in fury. It gave me a mouse. So? Man, she really isn't from around here. At Greenwich Middle School, everybody knows two things about me. One, when I want something, nothing stands in my way. And two, I don't like coconut. I look around. There's dead silence in the cafeteria, but nobody's eyes are on me. They know better than to get between me and a Zagnut bar. All except Kiana. Maybe all Californians are like that. They can't mind their own business. She asks, and if you keep on kicking it, will the Zagnut come out? Maybe, I say stubbornly. She shrugs. Then go ahead. But here's the thing. I don't want to kick it anymore. She's ruined it for me. The worst part is she's in SCS 8, so I can never get away from her. We spend the whole day in room 117, except for lunch in the cafeteria and phys ed, which is in the gym with a couple of other classes. The only surefire place to avoid her is the boys' room. She hasn't followed me in there so far. Our teacher, Mr. Kermit, is probably in his 50s, but he looks about 900. Actually, he looks like he's dead already, hunched over his desk, his eyes half closed. He never moves a muscle. It's hard to tell if he's even breathing. I'm amazed he isn't swinging from the light fixture from all the coffee the guy drinks. Mostly he's working on a really complicated crossword puzzle. He hates my guts. At least I think he does. All the teachers in this dump have it out for me, so why should he be any different? He's dumb too. He doesn't even realize that we call him Ribbit. There's this nut job in our class, Mateo Hendrickson. He pointed out that the only Kermit he ever heard of was Kermit the Frog. Turns out Mateo's a fan of the Muppets, not just Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Halo, and every comic book ever printed. Anyway, a nickname was born. Every morning when the teacher walks in, late as usual, we start ribbiting. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Mr. Kermit doesn't even notice. Either that, or he thinks it's a compliment. As a teacher, he stinks. Not that I've had any good ones. He never gives lessons. In fact, he hardly ever speaks out loud. He just passes around these stupid worksheets all day long. Boring doesn't even begin to describe it. With a normal teacher, if you don't do the work, you get in trouble. Not Ribbit. He acts like he couldn't care less if we do his worksheets or not. I've turned in every assignment. He's never graded a single one or handed it back. Kiana complains. What's he doing with them? Maybe he's eating them, I suggest. He's weird enough. She rolls her eyes at me. She's annoying, but it's not like the other kids in SCS 8 are any better. There's Parker Elias, who has to be the dumbest person in the whole school. Remember the kid in first grade who, when he got picked to read aloud, everyone else wanted to drink bleach? Well, Parker still reads that way today. One word at a time, at the speed of molasses, sounding out every letter. This is the idiot who they give a special driver's license to. No one is safe. There's Barnstorm Anderson, super jock. Super jerk would be more like it, but I guess he's both. He's an unstoppable running back, an amazing point guard, and a lights-out pitcher. which is why the school gives him an automatic get-out-of-jail-free card. That makes me mad. Why should scoring touchdowns mean you get special treatment? But here's the thing. Last spring, Barnstorm blew out his knee. He's on crutches now, banned from sports for a whole year, and by that time he won't be in middle school anymore. So all the teachers have suddenly started to notice that the last time he turned in a homework assignment was never. That's the kind of person who lands in our class, like Elaine Ostrover, who sits in the back row. She has to be 6'2" and as solid as an oak tree. She hardly ever opens her mouth, but when she does, her voice comes out a low rumble like a subwoofer. Kiana asks me about her. "That's Elaine," I replied. "Rhymes with pain." She frowns. "Everybody says that rhymes with pain. What does that mean?" "You don't want to mess with Elaine," I advise her seriously. "Last year, she headbutted this kid down the stairs because she was looking at her funny. Wiped out like 15 people. The line outside the nurse's office stretched halfway to the cafeteria. If that's not pain, I don't know what is." Kiana checks out Elaine's head, which looks like one of those giant statues on that island from the cover of our world geography textbook. "She has to register her head as a deadly weapon with the FBI, I put in. Kiana skewers me with a sharp glance, so I say, "Well, not really, but she definitely tore the door off one of the bathroom stalls and used it to crush the laminating machine." I add, I wasn't there, but everybody knows it." "You're scared of her," Kiana decides. "I'm not scared. I can handle Elaine," rhymes with pain. "If you don't say the full name, it increases your chances of being the next victim." "I just don't want to get in trouble for fighting, that's all." She nods. "Because you're the big expert of not getting in trouble." By the time I realize that I'm mad at her for saying that, she's on the other side of the room and the chance to yell at her is lost forever. Raheem Barkley is supposed to be this amazing artist, although all I've ever seen him do is doodle. I guess his doodles are pretty good if you're into that kind of thing. He drew one of Ribbit that's a dead ringer for our teacher. The sunken cheeks, the dark circles around the eyes.